stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.
Hello and welcome back to We Are Mighty. How you doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. You know what? We are actually 1 year old as of this episode. We launched 2024 on my son's 25th birthday, which was February 9th. His birthday this year is going to be Super Bowl Sunday, so we're going to have a double celebration. I cannot believe it's been a year already. You know, it's one of those, it's only been a year, but my goodness, it's been a whole year. And of course, I think of how it's about to be another birthday without my son, but I still try to be optimistic and I still try to be positive. I won't lie, though, I recently started getting a little bit discouraged and thinking, nobody's paying attention to this podcast, nobody's watching it, nobody's paying attention to what I'm saying. This is really more me talking to myself than me talking to others. And I kind of fell back. I wasn't promoting it as much. I wasn't talking about it as much because I really didn't think anybody was paying attention. And then, once again, I started to have people tell me how certain episodes were really helpful to them, or something that I said in one of my episodes touched them. And it was like God was telling me, I know you feel like nobody's paying attention, but I guess they are. And then the biggest thing, I got a package in the mail just this past week, and it was from my aunt. But she sent me some journaling supplies. She knows I like to write, and some nice pens. But there was a package inside the package that I almost missed. The box was white, and so I missed this little white envelope that was in the box. So I didn't see this until the day after I actually got the package. But I happened to open it up the next day, and it was a necklace. And the necklace was inscribed, and it said, "Be intentional." And that just really meant a lot to me. I literally cried, and I said, okay, somebody's paying attention. And I know that I said, if I reach one person, then this is worth it. And I guess I'm reaching a few. So thank you to everybody who's watched, who's watching, new viewers. I know that it's difficult to talk about grief. It's difficult to revisit grief. I know, like I said before, I've had people say that it's dark that I'm on this subject, but it's a journey that we have to take. Sooner or later, one way or another, it's going to hit you at some point. And it is just not easy. I thought the hardest thing to do was to bury my son at the age of 24, but I recently had to go to a funeral for a 4-year-old, and I think that was a little bit harder. She hadn't had a chance to experience very much in life, and to see that little coffin and that little baby was just, and I'm trying to tell her mother how strong she is while she's trying to tell me how strong I am. And she and I are close. And so she's been here through my journey. And, of course, she's saying that I was helping her because of things that I've said and done over the course of the year and a half since my son's passing. I helped her to be a little bit stronger, but it didn't make it any easier. And of course, a funeral is definitely a trigger when you're already going through grief. So a lot of things, a lot of songs, things that were said just, triggered me, but I wanted to also be strong for my friends. So I didn't let it completely overcome me. So now I know of another mother to have lost her child who's on this journey with me. And I try to be encouraging to her as she was to me when I lost my son. And there's just so much going on around me. And I don't know how I tend to be the quote unquote strong one. But that's, I guess, the role that I've been given. I try to not allow myself to appear weak, I guess. And I guess I'm not weak. I just, have to deal with it. But I've looked back over this past year of this podcast. I hope it's helped you. It's definitely helped me. Now we know that there's been some days that I've been happy. There's been some days that things have gotten to me where I've actually shed a tear or two. But it's still overall, it's been so helpful to just speak about this journey, to speak about how it affects me or how I tackle it or things that have come up, things that you wouldn't expect, that I'm sure I'm not the only one who deals with it. So I hope that this podcast is really enlightening for you, if that makes sense. I hope that it is a light in the middle of the darkness that is grief. I have an event coming up this weekend. I previously, I think a couple of episodes ago, talked about how my friends and I wanted to do the roasting session of death and grief. Well, it's been planned and it will be happening this coming Saturday, the 8th. And it's just a place, it's just a creative way of dealing with death. I know some people think it's like mocking death. That's not the purpose. It's just an outlet, another way of dealing with what we're going through or what we've gone through. It's not just for people who just recently lost someone. It's not just for parents who've lost children. It's just for people who have had to deal with any type of grief. So we're going to have an area where we literally are roasting death and grief on the microphone. We're going to have an area that's an actual rage room with things that we can break, glass, TVs, just ways of releasing that anger, if just for a moment. And then we're going to have a fire pit where you can write down things, write down your feelings, write down whatever is bothering you, upsetting you, that you want to release, and then just throw that in the fire and watch it burn. Just creative ways of dealing with this journey. Yeah, I can sit here and I can talk and talk and talk for a little while. Take a break and talk some more. But there's also actions that can be taken to free yourself of the misery, of the darkness, of the pain. Like I said, if only for a moment. And I expect this not to be a sad, dark occasion. I expect it to be an uplifting one. I expect it to be fun. I expect a lot of laughter. And I'm just looking forward to a creative release with other people who need to release as well. Whatever it is they need to release, I want this to be their outlet. And who knows? I purposely did this the day before my son's birthday. Maybe it'll become an annual thing. And like I've said to other people, it may not be your cup of tea. I can't tell you how you deal with it. That's just me and my friends are just that crazy. Maybe some people who are around us are just that crazy. So we're going to see how this event goes. I think the funniest thing about it, I mentioned the post that I had made roasting death, saying death is a, what did I say, big back polar bear, no booty, something. And a friend of mine who is a public informations officer asked me if I had any graphics for the event. I did a a Facebook event and invited people and everything. And I didn't have, a graphic. And she said, "Oh, I'll do one for you. I have an idea." She does things like that. So she sends me 3 different pictures, and all 3 of them are of a polar bear. And the polar bear is kind of big. She literally found a big back, no booty polar bear for the flyer for my event. I could not stop laughing, but I had to use it because it just goes right along with our humor. So, yes, we have the big back, no booty polar bear Death Is event coming up on February 8th. It's okay to laugh when you're dealing with grief. It's okay to have moments of happiness. We want to have the moments of happiness outweigh the moments of sadness. And in the beginning, that's very difficult to do. Like I said, I sat and sat for days on my couch and did not move. If it wasn't for my friend coming over and doing dishes for me and literally making me get up off that couch, I don't know how long I would have sat, but I literally sat for 4 days straight. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. I literally just wanted to sit. For a moment, I just wanted to die because I wanted to be where my baby was. And I had to pull myself out of that depression because I wouldn't allow anyone else. They would try. They would, "What do you need?" "I don't know. I can't tell you." And that's just me and my stubbornness. But now, a year and a half later, I try not to let that much sadness come into my life. And it seems now people are more comfortable coming up to me. I guess they think I won't be as upset over the loss. I had a young lady come to me and she hugged me and said that she had grown up with Miles and in school and had seen him, and they've been so close since they were like 5 or 6 years old. And she sat and told me how amazing he was. I thought that was so sweet of her. And just earlier today, because she was thinking about the fact that his birthday was coming up, she sent me an email just telling me how he and her boyfriend were so close and he would show up at her house unannounced. And, back then she thought she saw him way more than she should have. And of course, now she wished she could see him more. But she talked about how their kids loved him and they still talk about their cousin who's in heaven. And that's how they refer to him. And it made me feel good. And she actually thanked me for raising such an amazing young man. And those are the things that you hope for as a parent. You hope that someone will speak highly of your child. You hope not to have to lose your child, of course, but at least to know that the things that you taught them, the values that that you taught them, stuck with them into adulthood, and others were affected by it, and others loved them. So that was really nice of her to send me that email. Now, it of course made me cry. It of course took me to a place of reflection, but I wasn't there for too long. And I feel like that's an accomplishment because something like that used to just take me to where I would just be the rest of the day, just not worth nothing. So I'm proud of myself as how far I've come. I don't know if I could say there's a long way to go because this is a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong thing. I know people who've lost loved ones years ago and still something may trigger them. So I'm not oblivious to that, thinking, "Oh, we've come a year and a half and give it a little more time. We'll be completely past this." This isn't a thing that you can just get completely past. I've accepted it, and I'm just trying to deal with it. I know in my earlier episodes, it was more solemn. It was more, I don't want to say of a depressing tone, but it was more of a lower energy. And so that's another way that I can see that I am progressing. And I hope that you, as someone who's watched, have progressed with me. Maybe not at the same level, but it's allowed you to progress as well, to realize, okay, I'm not in this by myself. It's okay to move forward in life. It's okay to move on. And I think that's probably the hardest thing when you lose a loved one. You don't want to feel like you're leaving them behind. That was one of the most difficult things for me. I don't want to feel like I'm leaving my son behind. And of course, it's not leaving him behind. It's just moving on with my life, moving forward with my life, because I know he wouldn't want me to be stuck. He wouldn't want me to be in a position of I don't even know the term to use, to be stagnant. So, in his honor, in his memory, I have to move forward. And if you have a loved one who you lost, who meant a lot to you, I understand, trust me. But I'm so sure that that person wouldn't want you to be stuck either. It's okay. Baby steps. You don't have to leap off into some big, huge adventure, but just take baby steps. If there's anything that I've learned over this past year of doing this podcast, baby steps. Because there was a time when I thought I was about to take a huge leap, and I said, yep, I'm ready. I wasn't ready. I tried to convince myself that I was. I was not ready. I wasn't ready for the leap that I was trying to take. I was ready for smaller baby steps. But I want, I'm that type of person that I want to take control of everything, and I want to write it out, plan it out. Here's how it's going to go. Well, guess what? The grief journey is not that. I've tried it and I've failed multiple times. I've tried it from different avenues, different aspects. You cannot control how this journey is going to go. What you have to do is be prepared to accept what comes at you and then deal with that accordingly. But if you feel like you can decide what's going to happen next or how it's going to affect you next, you absolutely cannot. And that is a hard pill to swallow if you're someone like me. I don't even know if I've swallowed it yet. I still try to control things, but I think it's stuck here, but it's going down slowly, if that makes sense. This journey is just crazy. Sometimes I am at a loss for words. Sometimes I just want to blabber for an hour at a time, and I can't. I can get somebody on the phone and just talk and talk and talk. And then there's other times where I'm just in awe. In awe of the things that I've dealt with. In awe of the things that I've gone through. And honestly, in awe that I've lived through it all. I would have never believed you if you told me 5 years ago that I'd be here. If you would have told me that I would have lost my child, I would have expected to be gone right behind him. And that's not a good way to think. So anyway, it's been a year, a full year of We Are Mighty. There's more to come. I'm not saying, thanks for a great year, we're done. No. There's more to come because the journey doesn't end. The podcast won't end. The encouragement won't end. I'm here for you as long as you're here for me. We're still going through this together. We're still getting through this together. Now, topics may change here and there, but it's still all part of the grief journey because grief is a part of my life. So there may be some more encouraging episodes. There may be some episodes that are just completely emotional because it's going to depend on that day. There's going to be episodes with tools, ways of dealing with things, because I'm still dealing with things. Do I smile a little bit more now? I do, because I'm intentional about it, because I know that my son would want me to be smiling. That's one thing he hated, was to see me unhappy. So why should I be unhappy every day? And I can't tell you how to feel. I can't tell you what emotions to deal with. I know it feels a little bit better to deal with happiness or joy as opposed to sadness and depression. It literally drains you. It literally feels like it's pulling you down when you're dealing with the sadness and the grief and the depression. So why not be more positive? Why not try to go through your days with as much sunshine, as much happiness, as much smiles as you can to just feel better? I think your days will go by smoother if you do that. I remember my first episode, I called it Grief Made Me Do It. And it's the truth. Grief did make me do it. But now there's a lot of things that I'm doing on the positive side that I can say the same thing. Grief made me do it. Dealing with grief has made me do it. The way that grief has pulled me down has made me do it. But what it's made me do now is be more positive. It's made me be encouraging to those around me. It's made me be a beacon of light when I can. And I like that side of grief making me do it. So as we embark on the next year of We Are Mighty, I'm going to try my best to be positive, to be that light, to get some guests to share experiences, to share best practices, to just talk about things we may not think about or things that we may not think others think about, that we may go through behind closed doors. I try to be fully transparent here. What's the use of having this platform if I'm not going to do that? Because I truly want to help someone. So hopefully you'll stick with me for the next year or however long we're here, 2, 3, 4, who knows? And we're going to grow together. We're going to grieve together. We're going to deal with this together. As always, in everything you do, be true to yourself, be strong, and be mighty. We are still here every other Friday, everywhere that you listen to podcasts, and you can see us on Spotify and YouTube. Feel free to email me at wearemighty24@gmail.com. Let's embark on this next year together, and let's see what becomes of it. I'll see you next time.
They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.